that's because our hope is not set on the things of this world. Our hope is set on the things of God. And this God is the Savior of all people. Now, what does that mean? Universalists will say that He's going to save all people. And which, if you know anything about the theology of salvation in the pastorals, you can't say that. The doctrine of, and again, this is one of the attacks on Pauline authorship, is that they'll say the author's a universalist. Well, he's the Savior of all people. All people are going to be saved. Of course, that's not what it says, does it? But people will take it to teach universalism, even though many, many, many places in the pastorals, especially Titus 2 and 3, we have a very orthodox Pauline definition of what salvation is. My Calvinist buddies, those who believe in particular atonement, tend to read this as He's the Savior of all groups of people. That he draws His children from Jew and Gentile alike, male and female alike, slave and free alike, Greek and Jew. Did I say that? Anyway, from all different groups possible. Problem is, it doesn't say that. It just doesn't say all groups of people. It says all people. That God is the Savior of all people. So there's two other possible interpretations for this phrase, and it's all tied in with the translation especially. Molista has two different possible meanings. If you translate it especially, what you're saying is that there's only one Savior of all people. Whether they respond to His offer of salvation or not is something else. But there's only one source of salvation. There's only one Savior, and that Savior is Jesus Christ. So He is the Savior of all people in that there is no other option. However, for those of us who do respond to His offer of salvation, He is our Savior in a very special way. So He is the Savior of all people. He's the only source of salvation. But the fact that He's Savior means something very, very special to those who respond to His offer. I'm trying to think of analogies. You could say it'd be one thing to be able to really just say, well, Michael Jordan and the Bulls was probably, I don't know, Knicks, Lakers, Celtics, Lakers, Bulls, what's the greatest teams that ever lived in. It's one thing to look at the Bulls when Jordan was there and go, he's the greatest basketball player of all time. It's something else, though, to live in Chicago and to have this emotional connection with the Bulls and to say Michael Jordan's the greatest player of all time. And it's something special to you because you watched his career. His victories were your victories. I'm a Laker fan, so while I respect Jordan, I did not like him at all because he kept beating the Lakers. And Memphis is a silly example. But there's a sense that God is the Savior of all and that He's the sole source of salvation. Those of us who have responded to it have a very special relationship with Him as Savior. The other way to translate molesta is that you can translate it to be precise. In other words, namely or i.e. God is the Savior of all people. And when I say all people, I'm talking about all people who believe. So it's really tied in with how you translate molesta, especially or comma, that He's the Savior of all people, comma, those who believe. In which case, all people is not all people. All people is a subgroup of all people, but it's all who believe. But either way you go on that, this can't teach universalism because the pastorals elsewhere are so clear that not everyone goes to heaven.